Buenos dias, Santa Fe, Nuevo Mexico. This is another exciting hearing of Health para Todos with your hosts, Arturo Gonzalez and
Larry Martinez.
Health para Todos is brought to you by whom, Larry?
It's brought to you by Christus St. Vincent Regional Medical Center, by the Aging Long-Term Services Department of the State of New Mexico, Presbyterian Medical Services, and the CONALMA Foundation.
Okay, I had a lot of things I wanted to say to our listening audience since we hadn't been here for quite a while. But I forgot what I was going to say. So I hear some laughing in the background. Maybe we put those on mute.
Yes, there's a few of us that are laughing, but yeah, I'll just say, I want to say hello to everybody who is among our very faithful listeners who call me constantly and tell me this would make a good subject for the program, or they mentioned the fact that they heard something on the program and felt that they had a follow-up question and had wanted some additional information. So as I was telling our guests, our very honored guests who we're going to have here on the program shortly, it's amazing how many people do listen to us, and they're obviously listening closely enough to even have some questions about some of the things we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, people come up to me and they say, "Are you still doing the radio?" And I'm not sure what they mean. When you're going to come off, or are we going to continue doing it?
There's a little bit of an answer in that question to begin with.
I know, exactly. That's like, are you beating up your wife still? That kind of stuff. I keep hearing this chuckling and laughing in the background. What's going on, Larry?
Well, we have.
Did we get a laughing box or what?
No, we've got some guests that I think you probably know them a whole lot better than I do, because
okay. Let me, since we're back, let me introduce our guests. It really is my pleasure to introduce Miss Maureen Ayers, who's the executive director of the St. Michael's Foundation, and someone that that we probably took classes from, or we were sent for detention or something like that. Brother Brian DeBosky, Professor Emeritus, a Christian brother all his life, who's been a model example of the Lasallian model, and who is now in residence at St. Mike's, but still contributing. I see him sometimes doing his workout at St. Vincent's in their workout area there. Quite an athlete. So, good morning, Maureen. Good morning, Brother Brian.
Good morning.
Thank you kindly.
Okay. Well, you want to say a few things, Larry, or shall I get started on what we're talking about?
Okay. Well, I think what the subject is today that we want to sort of concentrate on is the Blue Stampede, which is quite an event for St. Michael's High School. Mm-hmm. So,
and let me preface that. Larry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Let me preface that by saying this is indirectly a health-related topic, because it really, what we're going to talk about, contributes to the health of our young people because of the scholarships that are provided. It contributes to the health of the community because of the graduates from St. Mike's who come back to the community and become either lawyers, doctors, cowboys or such, Oh, that's a song. I'm sorry. Lawyers or doctors. And so it really is something that we want to talk about and plug, because in these days of pandemic, it's very hard to keep an organization like the foundation going. And these two individuals have really, over the years, kept it going and dedicated their lives to seeing the mission of the foundation. So let's get started. Maureen, tell us a little bit about the mission of the foundation, et cetera, what you do and why it's important.
Well, the mission statement for the foundation is providing opportunities for quality education. And so our main focus for the foundation is to provide funding for lower income students to help them attend St. Mike's. Because we really believe in the education that's provided at St. Mike's. I think all of us have attended Catholic schools our whole lives, and have seen the benefits, just in an academic point of view, but also just to support through, I think of it as soul work, because the school provides the spiritual support that you need as well to get through life. So it's the tangible results that you get from a Catholic education, but also those intangibles that are really important.
Well,
So,
Maureen, Arturo was talking about why your efforts are related to health. One thought occurred to me, because I've been in the healthcare field now for well over 40 years. And one of the things that we have observed over the years is that an educated population is a healthier population, number one. And quite frankly, the one common denominator that we have found in all of the maladies and the health problems that we seem to be faced with is poverty seems to be a common denominator. And the best way out of poverty is through education and through opportunities. And let me just say that, most of my colleagues, or a vast majority of them, have all been products of St. Michael's High School or the College of Santa Fe. And I think what has been done, if you go back to the days of Brother Benildus, when he established some of our educational institutions, it was basically to provide educational opportunities for poor people living in northern New Mexico. And that mission hasn't changed a whole lot. That mission remains, and it's awfully heartening on our part to see that there are still people who are committed to that mission. And so, brother, you've watched this happen for many, many years.
Many years.
What do you feel has characterized this ongoing goal or objective that we've got to try to promote education? Has it changed very much, or does it still remain the same noble goal that it was from the very beginning?
Well, the heart of it remains the noble goal that you're talking about. I've been inspired by seeing what the brothers have done since I first got out here in 1958. So I have watched them continue doing what Archbishop Lamy called them out here to do in 1859. They have worked with the students. They have provided not only education, but health care, because there were boarders at the school. You guys might remember that. Yeah. And the boarders in the old ledger that I looked at, some of them, were given, the father contributed 1 pig. For the boarder's livelihood there, and for his education. And then there were others where there was no contribution, but there was just the word in Spanish, huérfano.
Huérfano.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So we've got orphans who were getting a free education, and they were taken care of by the brothers. I remember Brother Prosper, who used to take care of the boarders in the 50s, and he had the same cure for just about everything. It was paregoric, but he was there for the students, and he took care of them. He got their temperatures, and he gradually helped pull them through. So this care, this loving care. Now, the brothers never mentioned love. That's not a good idea in a school full of boys. But
that is good.
That's very good. We should have thought about that years ago. We wouldn't have the problems we have today.
Right. Yeah. But what they did was, out of the goodness of their hearts, they poured their lives forth. And that's what they had been doing. I just was at the cemetery this morning, arranging for the burial of Brother Donald Mouton. And I was reminded by seeing the names of those brothers and the dates. The first one to die was in 1871. And we've been filling up the cemetery ever since. So the core of it, the basic, I'm doing this which Christ would do if he were here. That's what's been happening all the way through, and it's still going on today.
Wow, you think Jesus would be on Health para Todos, Brian?
Oh, sure.
Good. Maybe we
Yes,
got to invite
indeed.
him, Larry.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, one thing, you've seen a lot of changes, brother, and particularly, and I know this is going to date Arturo and myself, but he and I were, we let's say we socialized with some of the ladies who were going to Loretto Academy before it became a co-educational school at St. Michael's High School. But I remember the girls went to their academy, and they were downtown there, not far from where the high school was downtown, not at its current location off of Brother Abaddon Way and the St. Michael's area of town. But so you've seen some major changes in even just the structure of what the mission is.
right. And some of those things were heartbreaking because there were so many brothers at one time. There were 28 brothers teaching at St. Michael's, and there hasn't been a brother teaching there for 3 years. So that's really a sadness in my heart. And they said, well, can you come over and tutor? And, I might be able to do that, but it's not the same to have all those brothers. I remember when I was in a brother's school called Kerwin in Galveston, Texas. If I crossed one brother, all 10 of them were after me.
There's unity.
That's the way it used to be at St. Mike's, that the word would get out that Arturo was doing his thing again.
Yeah.
And, yeah, sure.
And none of the guys that I knew would come and defend me at all, brother. So they weren't brothers, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, Maureen, you've heard Brother Brian talk about the mission. He's given us a little bit of the history, both the positive and some of the negative. How do you, as executive director, how do you see the foundation supporting the work that Brother Brian has been talking about and that they're still trying to do at St. Mike's? How does that happen?
Well, our main focus is on tuition assistance so that we can get support the kids who want to go to St. Mike's, whose parents don't have all that much money. And at the same time, by doing that, we're also able to maintain healthy levels of admission for the school as a whole. So that contributes to the success of the school. Because I grew up in Brooklyn, and both my grammar school and my high school closed just within the last few years. And when I went to high school, there were 400 and almost 75 girls in my grade alone.
Wow.
So and it was a big school. And by the time they closed, they had 200 in the whole school.
Wow.
So it really hit me in the last few years how I felt such sadness at the thought that those schools no longer exist. And it's Brooklyn, where it's the city of churches is what Brooklyn's called. And you have a lot of Catholics living there, but I think so many people these days find that they can't afford to send their kids to school, to a Catholic school. So for me, it's almost a tribute to my parents, the work that I do to try and help other kids who are growing up and are able to benefit from what we benefited from. And I just am really hoping that we can help St. Mike's continue to thrive, especially during this pandemic. It's a scary time. And I think they're still doing pretty well, thankfully. So, and I'm sure what we do with the foundation by helping with tuition assistance, I'm sure we're helping with that. But that's just, it's stuff that we have to continue to do and be as energetic as possible about it over the next couple of years, just to make sure that the high school is still here for all of northern New Mexico.
That's right. That's right. I think looking at the history, I think about my high school days. Of course, I was in the seminary, and now you read about the seminary has closed, obviously. And now the Archdiocese has put all of that land and all of those buildings up for sale in order to deal with bankruptcy. And that's just a sign of how difficult times have become. And I sure as hell would hate to see something like that. St. Mike's property is up for sale or something like that. It's such a vital piece of the community and has been over the years that even if there's a struggle to get a lot of Christian brothers in, like there is, Brian, as long as there's a few of you there testifying to the mission and testifying to the goals, then we have a chance. I think, I think we have a chance.
Well, from my perspective, one of the true elements that shows that there's still life and a very vibrant life to St. Michael's is I've got some nephews and nieces
Yes.
going to school there, and the quality of their education is just unbelievable. They are so happy. They love their school. They love being involved in that way. And as long as we've still got that, I think the institution is going to continue, So.
Right. And it's also what I find real helpful, and maybe Brother Brian can attest to this, is that when they started talking about closing schools like St. Pius or something like that,
Mhm.
I got scared. Oh, St. Mike's next, And Brother Brian assured us that may not be that couldn't take place because why, brother? We're not associated with the diocese, right?
That's right. When the Archbishop called the brothers in 1859, he gave them the oldest church where they lived and taught for a while and some land, and they were supposed to raise their own food. So ever since 1859, the brothers have been making it on their own, more or less. Now, they've been lucky that they got some help from outside, from other brothers' institutions. And we've been lucky recently to unite with the brothers from California. And we're in a fairly good position to keep St. Michael's going.
That's what I mean. It's great to have that camaraderie across the country.
Right.
Maureen, can you tell us, you've talked about how you support the mission and stuff. Can you tell us some specifics, like how many scholarships, total amount that were awarded last year, what you think you might award this year, and what the scholarships entail, how much, how you get them, that kind of stuff?
Well, we average about 75 scholarships every year. Some of them are merit scholarships. So we have a couple. It's a Brother Walsh scholarship is for math and science. We have a Jensen Brown scholarship, which is for a character. We have a Father Adam scholarship, which is for students' commitment to Catholic activity. And we have a Betsy Tapia.
I remember Betsy.
Yeah, she was a phenomenal English teacher, apparently. So that is for English writing, that particular scholarship. So those are specifically like earned scholarships. All the others are tuition assistance for need. And the only other requirement that we have is that students have to maintain a 2.2 minimum grade point average. So we average about 75 a year. And it's probably about an average of $1,500 that they get. I mean, the lowest will be 500. There's very few of them at that level. And some will be as high as 3,000. But probably the average is around 1,500 for each of the students. And every year, in the past, we used to give more. Maybe the average was about 85, 90 students that received funding, but they would get less money. So what we're trying to do is, as the applications go down, we don't have as many people who are in as great need. So we haven't had as many applications. So we're then able to give them more. So that's great. So that's it. We have the tuition assistance for those just in need, and then we have the merit scholarships that we award as well. And those range from maybe $1,000 to $3,000, the merit scholarships.
Wonderful.
Well, Maureen, what is so fascinating is that the scholarships each have a story behind them. You mentioned Betsy Tapia. She was a teacher to both my son and my daughter, Alexandra and Rachel, who graduated from St. Michael's High School, went on to the University of New Mexico. I was always impressed with how much they respected teachers like Betsy, but it seemed like the appreciation didn't come until maybe a little bit later. And my son, who always was a procrastinator when it came to his schoolwork, he waited till the last minute, but he told me one time, and I was so impressed. He was already a student at the University of New Mexico, and I said, well, how's it going? And he said, Dad, one thing I never realized until I got here to the University of New Mexico was, as much as I rebelled against the discipline that a teacher like Betsy Tapia placed on me, I never realized what the impact is. I got here to the University of New Mexico, and we write so well compared to everyone else out there, he says. And every time I start putting together a composition, I think of her, that she was the one who held our feet to the fire, made us accountable, and as a result, it's so much easier for us than it was for a lot of the other students who come from other high schools across the state, And I think that's like a sort of a microcosm of what this is all about. This is the quality, this is the caring, this is the dedication and commitment to success.
That's exactly it. I can't tell you how many students will say that when they get to college, they are, head and shoulders above so many of the other students, and they're so ready and prepared for college life because of the great foundation that they received at the school. And that's it. Betsy Tapia, her name comes up constantly as being someone who was a tremendous help for kids to get through school.
Right.
It's inspiring. It really is inspiring, because these people, and I know Betsy left us a few years ago. We lost her, but she's still alive in so many of our students, and because of what her commitment was, what her hard work did, it's still going. That's maybe that's one of the attestations to immortality, is that.
Wait a second. Say that again. The what? Attestation to immortality.
Yeah, she's immortal. Her gifts to us have been immortal.
That's pretty big language there, brother.
That's the St. Mike's education for you, right?
You graduate from St. Mike's too? Maureen, what is the origin of some of these scholarships? How do you get them? You solicit them, or do people come and say, I'd like to do this in memory of someone? How does that work?
We do both. We're always putting the word out there to say, hey, if you'd like to do an endowed fund, there are different types of funds that you can fund. It's the endowment funds are like $50,000 minimum. So like recently, Brother Nick, who is now going to be 95 in June, he was the one who actually founded the foundation when he was the president at the high school at the time, and he founded the foundation. So his family, he is the oldest of 11 children. And in honor of his 95th birthday, his siblings rounded up $25,000 to help start an endowed fund for Brother Nick. Wow. So what we'll be doing from now until hopefully June 4th, we'll be doing fundraising to try and make up that additional $25,000 that's needed for the endowed fund. I have to say many of our endowed funds are from estates and family members of Christian Brothers. So, I mean, they continue to give, even as they're retired and no longer teaching, they continue to give to the students by funding these endowed funds. Brother Brian, he just recently did the same thing. He gave a portion. He gave his Brother Brian, if you want to talk about it, but he had inherited some money, and donated it to the school, to the foundation. And then we had an anonymous donor contribute to make up the balance. So he brought in 27,000, and they're
Wow.
bringing the balance for another 50,000. So, I mean, we have several, Brother Walsh, several brothers who have established endowment funds to continue in for the rest of the foundation's life, so that we can continue to give to the students.
But it's not only getting the money, but you have a financial plan, so to speak, with your finance committee that helps you make the most out of these endowments. And talk a little bit about that. You get that financial consultation.
Right. We have all those endowed funds or named funds. There's also named funds, which are usually smaller amounts. So they're in people's names, but we spend them down. And if people don't donate to it over time, they'll go away. But most of our funds at the foundation are invested. And so those monies are accruing interest, and the interest is what helps us pay the tuition assistance every year. So we have two funds. One is with Merrill Lynch, and that was the original foundation's investments. And then just a few years ago, we became the recipient of the College of Santa Fe's endowment. Yeah. And those funds are sitting at Morgan Stanley.
Okay.
And those funds just go to 5 recipients, one of which is the Christian Brothers. Half of the distribution goes to the Christian Brothers, and then a portion comes to the foundation, a portion comes to the high school, and a portion goes back to the College of Santa Fe, the Alumni Association.
Yeah, Brian, talk a little bit about that, because you were very instrumental in getting that transition. What brought that up? How did it happen? I know it was graduates of St. Mike's that we interviewed. I mean, St. Mike's in the college that we interviewed that one time. Remember, Larry?
Yes.
Okay, and that was an amazing chain of events. Can you describe it a little bit?
Right. It all starts with the generosity of their hearts. You know, they wanted to make sure that the next generation would profit as they had profited. Many of them had come from the families which had never sent anybody even through high school. So they got through high school, they got through college, and they wanted to see that this would happen for anybody who really had the initiative to do it. So they wanted all of the funding to go to people of northern New Mexico, and they had been taking care of that themselves. But as they grew older and the numbers dwindled, they realized that it wouldn't be very long before they were not able to take care of the funds. So they wanted to give that to younger people, and the foundation was an ideal place to put it. So it was their loving generosity that was the real mover in all of this. And then it was their own health. And when one of their leading members, Gene Burns, had a heart attack, their energy bunny just stopped running. And they realized, the time is upon us where we must pass these funds on.
That is such a beautiful description. And it was a large amount, because these guys were saving money from the bingos, right? They had saved all of this money for years from the bingos, and they were true. Every weekend, every Friday, they had a bingo and raised money for the college.
That's right. At the beginning, they would raise all that money in Oñate Hall. And it would be 10 cents a bingo ticket, and people could buy as many as they wanted. And sometimes people bought 3. And then they would run the bingo, and they would save the money. It was truly amazing the way that they were wise in the application of those 10-cent bingos.
That's right.
How amazing. It's time
Larry,
to do our thing.
Do your thing, Larry.
Okay. Well, we want to remind our listeners that this is Health para Todos on Que Suave Radio, 810 on your AM dial, 99.9 on your FM dial, and it can also be streamed on the internet at kswvradio.com. And it's brought to you by Christa St. Vincent Regional Medical Center, Presbyterian Medical Services, the New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department, and the Conalma Foundation. And our guests today are Maureen Ayers and Brother Brian from the St. Michael's Foundation. Brother Brian is a professor emeritus, and Maureen is the executive director of the foundation. And this has been a wonderful walk down memory lane. You know, it's almost a little history of Santa Fe, New Mexico. You know, because there's so much we've talked about. Father Lamy, we've talked about Brother Benildus, we've talked about the many Christian brothers who have given so much to this part of the world and to this community, and how it's a gift that keeps on giving. It's there's a synergy to it. And I think that maybe that's what's the greatest evidence of divine intervention here, is that no matter what happens, there's always a way to keep the fire lit, to keep
That's
it going.
right. That's right.
So
Well,
this has been a real joy.
That's right. And one of the ways to keep the fire lit is by raising some money. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. You're talking about a big event coming up, Maureen.
That's right. It's the Blue Stampede is
Tell
coming
us all
up.
about big event
Yeah, that's
coming
our
up.
annual
The Blue
big
Stampede.
That's our big annual fundraiser that we do every year. Last year, unfortunately, we had to cancel it. So this year, even though we can't, we're not really ready to have another 400 people party at the convention center. Instead, we're going to do it online this year as a virtual event. And there are three aspects to the event. There's a silent auction and a board auction that will take place May 7th through May 14th. And then on the 14th.
That's already next week, right?
That's May 7th is when it goes live, which is next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming up real soon. And so from May 7th to May 14th, you have the opportunity to bid on silent auction items, but also on board, on the board auction. And if you've ever, we also do the reverse raffle on May 14th, the final day, on May 14th at 6 o'clock. And we pull all 400 tickets, and the last 1 to 4 tickets will win the grand prize of $10,000.
Wow.
And all of that, all the raffles, the auctions will all be found on the one website, which is stmikesfoundation.org. I'm sorry, .afrogs, which stands for auction frogs.org. So again, it's stmikesfoundation.afrogs.org. And that's the site you go to in order to bid on the silent auction, bid on the board auctions, or watch the raffle pull on May 14th.
Okay.
And the board auction, if you've never been to this particular event, we sell 400 tickets.
Okay.
And we usually have 20 names on 20 boards. And people have an opportunity to bid on those boards, so that if the winning number, say we have one winner, and the winning number falls on board number 3, then anyone who owns board number 3 wins that pot of money. So say we raise $20,000 on the bids for the boards. And you're the winner you're the one who owns board number 3, and the winning number sits on board number 3. Then you get 50% of that pot. So you'll get $10,000 for winning that board auction, and then the foundation will get the other half. So it's a little confusing. So I'll try and clarify that on the site. So if people have never done it before, you can get some more instructions on how to participate. But a lot of people who have been doing this for the more than 30 years that we've been doing this event are pros at it, and they'll get together a group of people to bid on various boards, and this way they have a slice of the pie on various boards. So if you're a real gambler, this is the thing for you.
Now, how do you know how much to bid on the boards?
It usually, Yeah, anywhere, usually probably anywhere between $800 to $1,500 is probably the average of each of the boards.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, okay.
You know, Maureen, what's going to be so wonderful one of these days is when we're out of this pandemic and we can go back to doing it live the way we used to. Because I know we spent many nights there, and they were long nights, but they were fun nights. They were very entertaining, and it was always fun to see as people were getting towards the end, how many people were willing to forego maybe the bigger amount to enhance their chances of winning, you know, by agreeing to split with some of the people who were in the driver's seat. And it was just absolutely wonderful, and it was a great experience. And it's going to be wonderful when we all get to be back together again in person and not be doing it necessarily virtually, but this is the next best thing to doing it
Right.
in person. You know, I think this is. So I think hopefully it's going to be a very interesting and exciting experience for a lot of the people who participate in it. But I remember over the years, the many people, it was Arturo that sold me tickets to this every now and then. And I want to do a shout out to Barbara Serna,
Yeah.
who also sold me many
She doesn't get mad at you.
Well, she sold me more tickets than you did. So
That's why I got mad at you. So I'm sorry, Larry, did you?
No, go ahead. I just was saying what a wonderful, exciting event it is. Yeah.
Well, I hope we go back live too, Larry. You know why?
Why?
Because we were supposed to be the MCs of the event.
Oh, that's right.
You remember that? And
Yes.
we couldn't do it this year. So
That's
anyway,
right. Yeah, we would have added to our storied career.
that's right. To our
Yeah.
animosity, you know.
Well, put a little mark in your calendar. Next year's event is going to be April 29th. So that's
Okay.
the night you guys will be the MCs next year. So
Okay.
Darn, I had
There.
to send back my tuxedo, Larry. Hey, but look at some of these. Look at some of these donations. These are the things that'll be on the silent auction, right?
right,
You got
right.
something from the Inn of the Five Graces, Four Seasons, Rancho Encantado, Hilton, the Buffalo Thunder, Inn of the Governors, Drury Hotel, Santa Fe Bar and Grill, La Choza, Chocolate Maven, and Wex. So these are all what, like dinners or
They're
what?
just samples of hotels and restaurants that donate. That's not all of them, but that's the
samples?
highlight of them. Yeah.
Okay. And then clothing you have, I thought it was golfers imported shoes. It's Goalers imported.
Golaires, right.
I
Yes,
won't go
right.
there, okay? And you've had some Blue Stampede sponsors, Catco Drainworks, Coronado Paint and Decorating, New Mexico Bank and Trust. So it's been hard though, Maureen, for some of the bigger groups or the more financially stable groups that have always given to the Stampede. For this year, they weren't able to do that because of the economy and the pandemic, right?
Right. And that's it. It's been a challenging year because a lot of our folks who have donated year after year after year, this is the year they've had to say no. You know, it's a real challenge for them. So, you know, we're just doing what we can and maybe casting our net out a little wider. The Keiko Drainworks, they were a godsend because they stepped up and did a $5,000 sponsorship this year.
5,000?
5,000, yes. Good. So that was brand new, and we were very, very grateful to them for doing that because, and then also New Mexico Bank and Trust, Coronado Paint and Decorating, Phase One Realty. They're all ones who continue to do this year after year after year. And I guess fortunately, they haven't had a super challenging year and still dug deep and still supported us in a major way. So we're so grateful to them. And then we're so grateful to all the new players. So like the Inn of the Five Graces, they gave us a 2-night stay that's worth $2,350. Wow. So it's really exciting. So we just got a beautiful San Isidro a statue. It's about 20 inches high. It's gorgeous. So we've got some really nice art pieces, and we've got some fun new things like the Clay Center. So if anybody's into doing pots and things like that, the Santa Fe Climbing Gym gives, the Sandia Tramway. So these are fun activities to do, you know.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, people are just busting out to want to do things. So
Right.
there's some fun things there's Pilates classes, Orange Theory. So we've got some really cool items. So, and the positive of this being an online thing is that you have a whole week to look at the silent auction and figure out what it is that you want and put your bids in. And then you also have a whole week to try and strategize the board auction, you know, so that's the benefit, is you have a whole week as opposed to just a couple of hours at the event.
Okay.
But it is going to be tough because one of the things that the in-person event is, it's like old home week. You know, people see each other and it's like they're having a reunion, you know, it's because everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
So it's really wonderful. So hopefully next year, hopefully everything will be back to normal. We'll be able to do
So-
it again next year.
Maureen, talk about the virtual, what that means, how it would work. When we get on, you know, on that day, the 14th or whatever, and we're looking at our screen, what are we going to see?
Well, hopefully if Esteban can maybe put the picture up that he just had up before. It's the same site, you know, all week you'll be going to, for the silent auction and the board auction, you'll be going to St. Mike's Foundation.afrogs.org. And here it is. This is what it's going to look like. On the right-hand side, these blue buttons that you see, that's where you go to register, to put all your information in. And then the second button below is the silent auction. That's where you go and you can scan all the silent auction items that are in there. The third button is the board auction. So that's where you can go to bid on your boards.
Okay.
And then on your left here, right, where you see the little television screen here, down here, you see this little, it looks like a little television right there. It says watch
Oh,
the
yeah.
board raffle draw live here.
Yeah.
So what I'll be doing is I'll be embedding into the site the live stream of the raffle pull. So all week you'll be able to do the auction. And then the night of the 14th, when the event is ending and we're having the raffle draw, you just come right back to this same site, stmikesfoundation.afrogs.org, and right here you will see the raffle draw. So inside that little television set is where you're going to see the person pulling the tickets, and we'll have a grid up there of 400 numbers. And as the numbers get called, the numbers will get blacked out or blued out.
Oh, okay.
So this
on the
way,
board, yeah.
exactly. So you'll be able to see the raffle being pulled, and you'll also be able to see the tickets being pulled.
Very good. And
Okay.
where are you going to be pulling the tickets? And
We're going to do it at the foundation office.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be a little tight, but we don't really have that many. You know, we'll have Ernesto Salazar is supposed to be the one who's pulling the tickets and emceeing that night.
Oh,
So
he's
Ernesto-
emceeing. Okay.
Yeah, but if he can't do it, I'm going to call you, Art.
Well, you call me and I'll get Larry on board and we'll just.
There you go. There you go.
But you want to make some money. You don't want people to withdraw their.
Yeah, you get us on there, and you were talking about the old home week. It gets very bad when he and I get together. In fact, you're among the most fortunate of our guests, because a lot of them do say, I barely got a word in edgewise.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
But, well, let me just say it's an exciting night. And even though we don't have the excitement of all being together and lots of people there and food and refreshments and everything else that we've had in past years, it's still going to be exciting. And I think what makes it so exciting is it's for such a wonderful cause. People can have a lot of fun, but they know that they're benefiting a great cause, because I just can't think of too many things in this world that are more beneficial than, again, opening the doors to educational opportunities and keeping alive the tradition that has just been so wonderful, what St. Michael's is all about, you know. So it's going to be exciting. I know I saw that one button that you had there for the silent auction. my wife will be all over that button, and it'll be pushed quite often.
Right, right.
And you'll be on the delete button, right?
No, I'll be on the pay button.
Okay, yeah. You know what, Larry? I want to do a shout out for Maureen here. You know, when you traditionally look at foundations, you know, you usually have an executive director, and then you have outreach worker, you have a marketing person, you know, you have a fundraising person. So in other words, you have a fairly reasonable staff below you as an executive director to help you raise money for the foundation. And the St. Mike's Foundation isn't some Mickey Mouse foundation. It's reasonable in terms of I mean, it's not Con Alma, it's not the Kellogg Foundation, but it's reasonable in terms of what it wants to do. And it all gets done by one person, and that's Maureen. She does all of that. There's no overhead except for her head, you know. And,
My
and
head.
sometimes some of the board wants to cut that off, and I don't think so. But that's really, you know, with little, much is coming forth. You know what I'm saying? And you do a good job, Maureen. I've always been impressed with that. I know Brian has.
Thank you so much.
Talk a little bit about. We still have some time here. Talk a little bit about the board. Who are the board members? How can someone become a board member? Maybe Brian, you can chime in on this. You know, and what qualifications, or how often do you meet? How big is the board? That kind of stuff.
Well, we meet every other month. It used to be every month, but some of the younger board members were saying, "Can we please reduce this?" because they're very busy. So we reduced it to every other month. And then usually in you know, more flush times, we can have like a Christmas gathering. But last year and this year, we're probably not going to. But the major responsibility for each of the board members is these fundraisers, and to try and sell at least 10 tickets to each of the Blue Stampede, and 3 sponsorships for the golf. We do a golf event in the fall as well, and we share that with the Alumni Association. So we have about 21 active members. Our president is Tara Block Archuleta.
Right.
Our vice president is Stephen Aranda, who is related to almost everybody in town, Larry Martinez, and I think Arturo as well. Is he
Yeah,
related
he's my
to
second cousin. Yeah.
He's
Yes.
my wife's cousin, right?
wife's cousin?
Well,
I laugh every time I meet somebody new. Are you related to Stephen? And then we have Monica Maestas as the secretary. She's one of the newer board members, and so we were very grateful that she took on that responsibility. And we have Jim Varela. Jim Varela's been on the board for a very long time, and he's been the treasurer, and I treasure Jim. He's fantastic. I love him. But we've got Barbara Cerna. And help me out here, guys, because I'm gonna forget a lot, I think. Oh, one of our board members that we just recently lost, which was a horrible tragedy, was Nicole Tipton,
Yeah.
who passed away at the age of 39, and that was just horrendous. And
You have Lois Royale.
Lois Royale is one of the newer board members as well. George
Yeah.
Henke.
And
One of my college classmates.
George Henke.
Yeah.
You have who else?
We have
Christina Martinez.
Christina Martinez, who's a great board member.
The Honorable Bill Garcia.
JJ Gonzalez, Arturo Gonzalez, Brother Brian.
Bill Garcia.
Bill Garcia.
Yeah. Yes.
Maida Esquivel.
Yes. Know Maida
and-
very, very well.
Yes,
Mhm.
I have to end it's saying scam likely, so I'm going to hang up on it. Who else? Megan Duffy.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think alphabetically here.
Law, what's her name from Highlands University?
Terry Law,
Very
who
well.
is also a development person, and she's an attorney, and she heads up the advancement office at Highlands University. Fantastic addition to the board. We said JJ Gonzalez, Billy Roybal.
Yeah. Who's the representative from the Call to Santa Fe, Brother Brian?
Well, we already mentioned them. That's Lois and
Lois and George.
Lois and
George.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your when you look across the table there? Well, what's nice, Larry, is that before every board meeting, we start it with a prayer from Brother Brian. And it could be one of the Lasallian characteristics, or it's always, something to inspire someone, And Brian, as you sit, I mean, you've been with St. Mike's and the college, most of the people there. When you sit at that table and you look at the board members, how do you characterize them? What goes through your thinking?
Right. These are generous people. These are people who give from the heart. These are the people who want to go the extra mile to help the students who are financially strapped. So it's very inspiring to be with them.
It sure is. And to be clear, Maureen, the foundation board is separate from the St. Mike's High School board, right? They have their own board of directors as such.
Right. And that's it. Our main focus is just to help with tuition assistance.
Right.
Whereas the high school, they have to deal with the operations of the building as well, and the operations of the school itself. So their mission is broader than ours. Ours is pretty focused on tuition assistance.
But beyond that too, Larry, one of the things that impressed me was the last couple of years, there have been some students, they have lost one of their parents through an accident. One of them was a parent who was involved, was shot, or they don't have, it's when it affects the one student, it becomes obvious that it's affecting the whole high school student body and community. Mm-hmm. And that's been a time that I've been impressed that Maureen comes to the board and she asks the board for approval to give a certain amount of funds to the family so that they can get through. Maybe they can pay their rent, maybe they can pay their gas bill, buy groceries or whatever. So, I respect that. That is hard for me.
You know what? It's so representative of what the values of St. Michael's are all about. It's family, and even when pre-pandemic days, of course, when we went to football games or to the basketball games, it was the St. Mike's family that was always there. We always felt we were a part of the family. And to me, that is just so true and so representative of what St. Michael's is all about. It's the family coming together when members of our family need help. It's
right.
And that's what makes it such a powerful message is that one thing I always felt at every one of the events I was there for with my children, with my friends, with my nieces and nephews and so forth who went there, I always felt like I was a member of a bigger family. And it's because there is such caring, such respect, such concern for the people who are part of that family that it feels like an extended family for a lot of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, Maureen, we're going to let you and Brother Brian, we're coming up on the end of the program. Want you to each say a few words to our audience about the foundation, your commitment to it, the big event, all those kinds of things. Whatever you want to say. Just don't say we're bad interviewers. That's all.
That sort of goes without saying.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a given. That's a given.
Just what Larry was talking about St. Mike's, that it is a family environment. It really is. I used to work for United Way here in Santa Fe, and it was kind of a social network and a social safety net that it provided to the community. And I think of St. Mike's as the same way. And because, it's really tough raising kids, period. But it's raising kids in this day and age. Kids really need that every benefit that they can get. And the fact that they do, if they're struggling or if they have this added benefit of that extended family at St. Mike's. And again, I hear this from so many people that's been their experience. So that has been an honor and a thrill for me to work for St. Mike's because of what it is providing for the community. So I am very grateful, and I'm very grateful to the amazing board members that make this possible. So thank you so much, Arturo, Brother Brian. It's been a privilege and an honor to do what I've been doing. So thank you.
Well, Maureen, I can't think of a better ambassador for this
Thank
family than you. So you're doing a great job.
Right.
Thank you.
Brother Brian?
Yeah, we sure appreciate what Maureen has done. A lot of it is invisible, so we have to thank her, even if we don't see something that has recently happened. So we're very appreciative of that, and it is a wonderful experience to join in something that's been going on since
59.
1859.
Wow.
1859. That's
Yep.
Those were pre-territorial days. We actually had become a territory in about 1846. So we were just a territory at the time, and we were quite a few years away from statehood, even.
Right.
Maureen?
And when the territorial wooden building burned down, they asked Brother Botulf, and he let them have their legislature in the school.
Really? All right.
Wow.
That's something else.
That
Both
is
are
probably
right.
a little known fact in history,
Yeah, that's right.
but it's again, it just shows the influence of St. Michael's, the influence of the Christian Brothers, and the fact that they're bailing out the state government, giving them
Yeah, for sure.
to hold their sessions.
We're here to help.
Maureen, if someone, one of our listeners or whatever, gets interested in becoming a board member, how do they do that? Should they call you or what? How do they?
Yeah,
do
they can contact me, or if they know any other of the board members.
Okay.
Because that's what we have a nominating committee, and Lois Rael is the
Chairman.
board member who handles that. And that's usually how it happens. We just go to the board and say, hey, does anybody know anyone who might be interested, who might be a good fit for the board? And that's how it is. So if you know a board member, contact a board member, let them know that you're interested, or you can contact me at the foundation. And my email is mayers@smhs.me, and that stands for St. Michael's High School.me, which I think is like the Maldives or something like that. It's a very odd ending, but that's what it
Yeah,
is.
I've never heard of that one before.
I know, it's very strange.
Maldives, okay.
One last time, give us the 2 dates and the 2 websites that people need to be aware of for the event.
Okay, so the one website for the event is stmikesfoundation.afrogs.org.
Okay.
There it is. Thank you so much, Esteban. This is where you go to bid on the silent auction. It's where you go to bid on the board auction throughout the whole week of May 7th through the 14th. And then you come back on Friday the 14th to watch the raffle pull. And then you can also, the silent auction ends at 9:00 that night, and the board auction ends at 6:15. And right after the board auction ends, that's when we start to pull the tickets.
Okay.
So that's the one website to go to where you'll see the raffle, you can participate in the event. The other website that you can go to if you want to participate either as a sponsor or an auction donor, or you want to buy your raffle ticket, you can go to stmikesfoundation.org, which is our usual, that's our website, but /blue will take you right to the Blue Stampede page. So it's stmikesfoundation.org/blue, and you'll go right to that page. So those are the 2 sites.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Larry, we hadn't been on the radio for a while, and just having this interview with Brother Brian and with Maureen just reminds me what a good time you and I have all the time.
Oh, we're blessed because
It's an
we
honor
have
to do this.
Yeah, it is. We're blessed because it's a morale booster for Arturo and myself. When we see people that are doing
I
so
keep
much
telling you, we have no morale.
morale with an E at the end.
Oh,
I
okay.
have to keep reminding people that it's morale with an E at the end, Arturo. But I keep, one thing he and I, it's an inspiration for both of us to see so many wonderful people who do so much for this community, and you don't get a lot of publicity for it, and you don't get a lot of pats on the back. But if we can do that for just 1 hour during our radio show, then I think we're successful, because we get to celebrate with you, and
Right.
We get to celebrate and to experience the wonderful aspect of giving, what giving is all about. I know it's been said before by many, it is more blessed to give than to receive, but you're the living embodiment of that. And we deeply appreciate it. This community appreciates it.
And with those sentiments from my co-host, Larry Martinez, this has been Health para Todos on AMA 10, Que Suave Radio, 99.9 FM, and you can stream it live on quesuave.radio.com. And we are brought to you by
Christus St. Vincent Regional Medical Center, the New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department, Presbyterian Medical Services, and the Conalma Foundation.
And thank you, Brother Brian. Thank you, Maureen. And Larry, take us out with our motto so that Brian and Maureen can carry it forth.
Well, we're going to get this done because we are New Mexicans, not New Mexicans.
There you go.
I needed that. Thank you. Thank you
Great.
so much.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.